What's up, guys? Salty Collector here, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the collector's kind of mindset, marketplace, why things hold value, why are collectibles becoming more mainstream. Some collectibles have already been mainstream. Just talk a little bit about my experience and my journey when I first got my interest peaked in collectibles to my dive into the business. Um, Starting out, I remember a conversation during my MBA program. I think this was during the NFT craze, right? Like cardboard was dead, NFTs were going to be the new collectibles, and everyone would collect NFTs. And I even collected some NFTs. I actually collected a lot of the NFL video NFTs, some of the basketball ones. And I remember being in a class, I think it was a strategy class, and we were talking about what we thought about collectibles in the collectible industry. And in that class, we were having a conversation back and forth, and there was definitely the camp that had kind of no belief in collectibles, wouldn't understand why anyone would pay a certain amount. And then we had the side that was kind of like, well, you have to understand what a collectible is. And I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. It's been on my mind recently. In this class, during the NFT craze, there was kind of 2 points of camp, right? One on the video side, people would say, well, you can just go get those clips on YouTube. Why would anyone pay XYZ dollars for the same clip that you could just go watch on YouTube and snip? And then my camp, so I was actually on the other side of the camp, was talking about how it's not about whether you can clip it right on YouTube. It's about scarcity, it's about supply and demand, and it's about kind of that unique value proposition for each collectible. Right, each collectible has its own emotional response to each person. Um, Looking back, obviously NFTs are not in the craze right now, so there's probably a lot of people that would say that he's right. He was right in that instance. But I think the fundamentals are still the same. What makes collectibles valuable, right? You have your supply and demand, right? Which is everyone knows about the supply and demand side. You have your emotional response. So, what is someone willing to pay for that collectible? And that translates across Pokemon, art, watches. Pokemon isn't the first collectible to be an alternative asset. Alternative assets have been used all throughout history to generate wealth. Um, Watches, art, some of the ones I just mentioned. I'm sure there's some people that collect, coins. That's another one, right? So there's always something that people are looking to kind of add to their, I almost want to say personality or what fits their personality or their hobby. And that investment space does live in multiple different hobbies and multiple different alternative assets. And so Pokemon's not the first, and it won't be the last. But Pokemon obviously has very two different reactions to the investment mindset. You have the it's just a children's card game. Why is anyone investing in these? And then you have the it's going to go to the moon, and it's the best alternative asset, and you shouldn't invest in the stock market and everything like that. I'm a bit more in the middle, and I think that no one should really say one way is better than the other. I think each person has their own journey to walk. Um, I will say my portion of net worth has shifted over the last year or two. I did a lot of options trading for a little bit, playing kind of the stock market, everything like that. Had wins and losses, and then kind of realized that wasn't really for me. So I went to more of a long-term investor mindset in the stock market, and I've done okay in the stock market. I don't see anything wrong with the stock market. I still have some of my net worth in the stock market, but I have shifted a lot of my net worth into collectibles. And I think it comes down to like a fundamental understanding that I think I understand collectibles a bit better than the stock market. Now, in my industry, so I do this part time, so I'm not full time, but I still work. And in my industry, I feel very confident in picking companies that I'm very aware of, that I work with. I work as a product manager, so I have some sense of an understanding of, where some value could be, which gives me sometimes a competitive edge to pick the right companies. And now when I say competitive edge, like competitive edge against myself, not really a competitive edge against others. Um, But I think we need to understand that collectibles are really about that personality, that emotional buy-in, right? A collectible is only worth as much as someone's willing to pay. Um, and so that's why these markets can be quite lucrative, but at the same time, they do hold an inherent higher risk. And I think people need to be aware of that. They will have more volatility. I know right now, it can only go up, but that won't always be the case, as every market will have its cycle. And every market, that will have a big boom, will eventually transition into a bear market at some point. No one knows when that is. You never know when that transition will happen, so you just need to be aware and be aware of, how long you're holding, what your financial situation looks like and everything like that. Um, so just keep in mind that collectibles are this interesting space, and I think the people that understand why people buy collectibles and why it matters to them, I think they have a competitive edge against others that don't understand why people would even pay, XYZ dollars for a piece of cardboard. It's really not about that. And I think you need to shift your mindset away from why would anyone pay XYZ dollars for this cardboard, because you wouldn't pay for that, to, well, this person sees value in this cardboard. What makes them see value in this cardboard? Why is there an emotional response tied to that cardboard, or tied to that Pokemon, or tied to that set? What is driving that kind of emotional frenzy, that supply and demand that's causing price action? I think once you have kind of start shifting your mindset into that, it'll allow you to be a bit more dangerous in the collectible space than what you buy, when you sell, how you think about, diving into whichever card or set you're looking to purchase. Because it's really about that mindset and understanding, what makes a collectible attractive. Um, so that's all I really wanted to talk about today, guys. Again, we're booming right now. If you guys like this content, like and subscribe. I will have another video coming out on Thursday. I'm thinking I'm going to dive into either my grading submission I'm about to do, or talk a bit about shipping. Shipping has always been daunting for me, so check that out on Thursday. And, appreciate you guys being here and supporting the channel, and looking forward to what comes next. All right, see you guys later.